Welcome to another episode of Q&A with the Loctician. I want to first thank Crystal for submitting the question for this week's topic. We're going to be discussing what causes flat locks. So if you've ever experienced flat locks and wondered how the heck did this happen, if you're currently experiencing flat locks, we're going to chat about it. First, let me just introduce myself. My name is Jocelyn Renee. I am a licensed cosmetologist, certified loctician, blogger over at curlynewgrowth.com, and the owner of New Growth Salon. And what I like to do is come online and provide education and insight into the locking process. And if you specifically have questions about your locks or your lock journey, make sure you head over to curlynewgrowth.com/ask and you can submit your question there. So like I said, we're going to be talking about what causes flat locks, and I personally have a few flat locks in this set of locks, which I'm trying to correct, but we're going to talk about it. So there are really three main causes for flat locks, and this discussion is not to say that flat locks are bad or that you shouldn't have flat locks. It's just that for the most part, when you are cultivating traditional locks, you are opting for a more circular shape. So if you have flat locks and that's what you want, it's not bashing it. It's just really talking about if you're going for a more cylinder appearance, how you get there or why you may not be there, right? So the three causes of flat locks include your curl pattern, not your texture, but your curl pattern, your maintenance, and your regimen. So we're going to chat a little bit about each one of those. If you have questions about anything that I am saying or comments, definitely share those in the chat box. And if you have experience with flat locks, definitely share your experience in the comments too, because, you know, we can learn from each other, and, you know, it's all about community, right? So when you look at your curl pattern, that is really talking about the way in which your curl is shaped. So some people have like a looser wave, some people have more of a coil, and some people have like a zigzag or like a Z pattern, right? I'm one of those people that have a like a loose wave pattern. And what that means for people that have more of a looser curl pattern is that your hair does not naturally grow in a cylinder or circular fashion, right? And so you really have to shape your locks. So when you have a softer texture of hair or a looser wave pattern, you're more prone to flatter locks because you have to shape the lock during the cultivation process. And if you don't do that, your hair is not just going to naturally go into a circular fashion. Whereas people that have a more coily texture, they'll just naturally get that cylinder traditional lock shape. So you definitely want to be cautious of your curl pattern and determining how you should maintain your hair, what type of tension you have to use so that you don't end up with flat locks if that's not what you're going for. And when you look at your maintenance going into curl patterns too, they kind of go hand in hand, right? When you look at your maintenance, I find that a lot of people maintain their locks, especially in the beginning, and they just maintain the roots. And while that's all well and good, but you're not actually cultivating or shaping your hair and shaping the lock, which is really important in the early phases of your lock journey, right? So if you're not applying the proper tension and the proper technique to allow your hair to coil or create a circular fashion, and you have one of those looser curl patterns, your lock will end up being flat just because it's not shaped. You're not shaping it to be a circular or traditional lock. So your hair can take on, it doesn't have to be flat, it can take on multiple shapes, but flat lock is more common. And then the third reason that kind of goes into why your lock may be flat is your regimen. And this is more so like your moisturizing, right? Or when you shampoo your hair. So I find that people will often moisturize or wet their hair at night and then put on their scarf or they'll put on, some type of tight cap, or they'll just go lay on their bed, right? And lay on that pillow, and your hair's wet. And when your hair is wet, it's pliable. And so if you wet your hair, lay on it, you smush it, you flatten it, and it dries that way. And then people do that over and over again, which leads to flat locks. This also happens if you air dry your hair or air dry your locks. It's not a good practice for you to air dry your hair. I know a lot of people like to think that getting under the dryer is excessive heat and it can damage your hair. But with locks, because they are an accumulation of hair, right, and especially the more mature they are, you have a lot of hair packed inside of a lock, and you have a lot of locks, right? And if you don't fully dry them, you can get mold, you can get mildew, and they can go flat, right? So I always recommend getting under the dryer, and you don't have to put it on the highest heat. You don't have to get the highest dryer that's going to put you through hell while you're trying to dry your hair, but just have it on low, just enough to get inside of your lock and fully dry it, and then you can go to sleep. But I know sitting on a dryer is not fun. That's the reason why I personally have some flat locks in my head, just because I don't like getting on the dryer, but it's not a good practice. So definitely, if you are experiencing flat locks, or if you are wondering why you or other people have flat locks, it's either because of their curl pattern, the way they're maintaining their hair, or how their regimen is structured. So you want to make sure that you're moisturizing in the morning, not at night, and that you're not sleeping with wet hair or covering your hair while it's really wet, like putting on a scarf or anything like that. So I hope this video and this information is helpful to you if you have flat locks, or if you're just curious about what's going on in there. And definitely, if you have a question about your locks and your lock journey, head over to curlynewgrowth.com/ask and submit your question, and we'll have another discussion here on Q&A with a Loctician next Wednesday. Thank you guys so much for joining, and I'll talk to you later.